they proved in the Champions League final in June of 2023, it might just take one goal to finally win this game. Let's hope that that only goal comes from City, because at half-time here at the Etihad Stadium, it is City 0, Inter 0 in the opening match of the UEFA Champions League of 2024-25. Well, I think we can go back to the studio where Izzy and Michael are alongside Kel.
Thank you for joining us back in the Matchday Live studio with me, Kel, Izzy and Brownie. You just heard from Alistair Mann there, all level. Manchester City 0, Inter Milan 0 at half-time. As Ali said as well, Izzy, it kind of feels like what we expected going into the game. Yeah, it's not an easy team to play against Inter. They've got so much, pedigree in Europe. They're a top side, and they've shown it again tonight. We spoke about the omissions from their starting 11. Martinez, who's is a fantastic striker. He sat on the bench. The camera panned to him a few times. He could tell he was a little bit frustrated. He'll be chomping at the bit, but from their perspective, they'll be delighted they're still in it, because no team comes to the Etihad and has an easy ride. So, but no, I think Manchester City have looked sharp at times. They've had to work really hard to get into those areas where they can be creative, and there's been a few chances. I think that one from Bernardo where the ball got fizzed across. He's just missed the connection with the ball. But I think I think City have been good, not at their best, but they've been good, and there's definitely more to come in the second. Off that, Brownie, how much of that is, that City have got another gear or two to go to? We know they always seem to keep that in the back pocket, but also because of how well-disciplined, organised and how well-versed this Inter Milan team are?
Well, this is the next level, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Champions League is there for all to see. The experience, the level of defending, they're not phased, they understand the distances, and they do that very well. We talked so much about the organisation levels in teams, how they defend together right from the front, and they don't leave the spaces. So I don't think we have to be too frustrated. I think we have to have a little look at half-time now. They'll be very good at this. I think the whole team will be saying, right, where are the angles? How do we change? There's players on the bench who can do that, or there's certain areas where they will target. That's where Pep and his side are exceptional at half-time. So I think it's as expected, tough, slightly nervous at times when the counter-attack comes out from Inter Milan. But overall, I wouldn't be too disappointed. Yes, could it be better? Could we create more? Could we score goals for certain? But yeah, it's an interesting game. It really, really is. Let's look into some of the key moments. Not loads, because it has been such a tense affair. From a City's point of view, we had the Bernardo chance. Also Erling Haaland as well. Is he coming close, kind of taking the ball, pulled a shot, and it just trickled past the post. Would you like to see maybe try and fashion a few more chances, or more clear-cut, I guess? Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way that Inter are set up, it's hard for City to get even that half yard inside the box. So they have to be really precise, and if there's a team that can find that sort of inch to place the ball, it's City. It's the players in and around this team. I think there's more to come from Savinho, there's more to come from Grealish, both flanks. Yeah. But they're almost being marked out of the game. It's about what happens in front of them. If they keep the width, it's the space they create inside. With De Bruyne's run the channels a few times, that nice little run he does, sort of, he goes in beyond the winger, gets to the byline and looks for that sort of fired across ball. He's got it in his locker to do anything. Yeah. He's got all the clubs that he can dig out any sort of cross he wants. But I think for City's perspective, they've just got to be patient. They're so good at keeping the ball in and around the box, making into camp inside that box, which is great. But at the same time, when you're trying to find that half a yard, it's difficult. Do you think in the wider areas, the 1v1s, would you like to see, obviously there's build-up and there's in the back, against the back five, do you want the wide players to try and get those 1v1 situations, giving goals, or do you think go through people? Because generally it's that circulation coming back round. Yeah. Midfield runs are important. We talk about the overload in the middle of the pitch. But it's hard, isn't it, when the space isn't there? Do you break the trend? Do you do it a little bit quicker, or do you still think, well, we'll just stick with what we do? Yeah, it's a great point. I think that the variation is key. I think once you've got the beating of your full-back and you've managed to get a cross in, it's okay, do I do it again? Okay, it hasn't worked. Now what do I do? And it's just keeping it mixed up,
keep the full-back, keep the centre-backs. So they've got 3 centre-backs in. The wing-backs are dropping in. It's about where's the space. And I think that's always the key. And you made an excellent point about half-time. Like, this is where, Pep earns his money. I mean, it's not the end of the world if it stays 0-0. It's not in the grand scheme of things. But, of course, City want to win. They want to get off to a banging start. But this is where he finds those little tweaks. This is why he's elite. And, I think we might be looking at, Doku maybe, a bit more
Haaland
pace in behind.
What's going on?
I have no idea. We're in a crisis.
Sub him.
It's a crisis.
Can't believe it.
Get him off the pitch.
People will be saying what's
I don't know how
going
it's
on.
going.
I get also one of the.
We want to see this 100th goal, don't we?
He's keeping us waiting.
Don't wait too long, do we?
I mean, you mentioned Doku. Another one that came to mind for myself watching that, given the tightness of it, is I think they put camera pan to him, Phil Foden, because we particularly know how well he operates in those spaces. Could that possibly be something that might unlock this very resolute Inter Milan defending?
Well, it's very brave from you, telling Pep Guardiola what he should do. Well. Phil Foden and Jeremy Doku, so he's heard it.
I've sat with the experts long enough now over these few years. It's rubbing off on me.
We've got to change a few things. I know what needs to go on in these type of games. I can see where you're going.
They have it on in the dressing room, so you know.
Obviously, Phil's an amazing talent. What a season he had. We just need to get minutes again. I think that's the point. We've missed him over the last few weeks, and they take a little bit of time to get up and running. As soon as he can get that sort of space, I'm sure Pep will be wanting to see him. Can he contribute in this game? We'll see. Of course, he can make things happen, can't he? On that back foot, coming inside, off the line. Maybe those central areas as well, if you can get someone in behind the midfield 3. I think you're trying to get shots away. He takes it off the shoulder really well. Doku's exciting. I think whatever he does he want control, Pep, where you don't have as much control if you play Jeremy Doku because he goes back to front very, very quickly. He will commit the defender, but he can also lose it. And then the danger of the counter-attack. So maybe he says, well, do you know what? I want to be safer. If we do play him, he has to do it when the space is in a particular, a right situation and the support's behind him. Midfielders shift over when you're allowing to do that. So the format changes if you're going to do that. But listen, it's a great bench, isn't it, Joe? I think we can unlock Gundogan. We can go on, can't we, about what the bench can bring. But I just think it's been a tight, tough half of football as expected. I don't think we have to worry too much. Us as City supporters, City ex-players, etc., we expect them to win because they've set their own standards. But it's the Champions League. I really enjoy it. I think it's fascinating coming up against different teams, different challenges, and we're learning all the time.
Absolutely. We've got some stats here that we can just bring you at home as well. So obviously, of course, as we expect most of the time, Manchester City boss in possession, 63%, Inter only 37%. But tying into the counter-attacking approach that they've gone for, they actually have had one more attempt on us, and I've had one more attempt on target, 10 total attempts and 2 on target.
It's just amazing there. Just looking at distance covered, when we see that, very, very similar. And for a team who are in possession with high-intensity runs, controlling the ball, and a team out of possession. That balance being so close is interesting when a team... You would say, well, OK, they're just sat there and waiting. Their stats wouldn't be as high.
Because
they just sat in and... But
that low block.
But you see, obviously, we have different things. Pass completed, look how much that is. And we have to be careful with stats because ultimately they can be blown away when someone puts the ball in the net.
It's so true.
But
I mean, the one thing I wanted to mention as well is, their 2 attempts on target. I mean, 2 big saves from Ederson. We saw what he gives us going forward, but saw as well his importance of keeping the ball out the back of the net.
Absolutely. I mean, City are so switched on in and out of possession. But Inter have played, quite a good counter-attacking game, you must say, and that's what makes the game, exciting. That's what you want to play against, opposition that are going to go for it and commit, because ultimately, if the opposition get out of what their structure is, it's going to create spaces for City to go and exploit down the other end. So it's exciting, but Ederson has been called upon. He's been needed. It's when they got the wing back, Augustino, out on the left-hand side, bombing forward. Tight angle, but Ederson had to be there, had to be alert, and Inter finished the half quite strongly, to be fair to them.
Yes.
But this is a top European team. I'm saying, to be fair to them, they're a good side.
Yeah, they've only lost
really
3 times in the last 20 games.
So Brownie's spot on. Like, there's players on that bench. Very interesting to observe now what angle Pep goes at this. What's he thinking? Who does he think is the key that's going to unlock this? Is it a Gundogan?
I don't think he'll rush, though, is he?
Oh, absolutely not.
I honestly don't. I don't think he'll go, oh, we've got to change everything. I think the plan will still be there, but there'll be a few. So you don't always see them because it'll just be a wait for.
Yeah.
It was a running joke that Pep says he already knows what the next thing is. People go, he's made it and he's done it again. He's already seen it. He's forecast it. Might be one little set, somebody in behind, just one little run. But yeah, going back to Ederson, I mean, imagine playing in goal for City where you control possession, you don't get a chance. Concentration level's key.
Of course.
And you've got to be ready for it all the time. And they don't always get the credit for the saves. He gets it for distribution because he doesn't always have to have those saves. And when the ball goes past him, it's like, oh, why not? But
yes,
And there's, it's very important that he's on point.
Absolutely. I wondered as well, is there something the midfield, or is it that you tweak in the tactical setup, because they have been so effective on that counter and so quick as well. I mean, it's quite amazing to see once they've got that turn, they've got 4 or 5 players bombing forward. Anything City can do to try and counter that, obviously saying as well, we're very aware that we're coming up one of the best teams in Europe to be able to do that. Can City do anything more just to maybe try and halt that a little bit? I mean, because Barella's been class.
Apart from his strike at the end, slightly critical. I mean, that comes out the sky. But, oh, OK then. He's not bad.
Zielinski from the midfield had a few moments where he's evaded City's counter-press and he's got out, he's carried the ball, 20, 30 yards, and that's how they've started their counter-attacks. I think what I would say for City to stop that, I mean, the obvious one, I mean, we're sat next to the master of the dark arts here, foul high up the pitch, you know, that's sometimes the best way to stop a counter-attack. It's intelligent. Same player can't do all the time, though.
No.
And the second thing is, it's just that up here, just being switched on in and out of possession. It's like when you've got the ball, it's are we in position to win it back if we lose it? It's always that sort of 50-50 thinking. It's like, what's next in possession, but can I get there if the ball turns over? And that's what City do so well. They lock it in.
Yeah.
They create this sort of ring around the box where they're secure. And we've actually seen Rodri higher up tonight, and it's been Diaz that's come into that sort of number 6 role because they've had that much of the ball. They're just pushing players forward. That's
one thing he doesn't want, that lack of control with the counter-attack.
And it's,
So that's important, but it's running the organisation. There they go now. They're always saying about the detail. That's good. Imagine the conversations there, what they keep going on with Rodri and Ederson, and demand so much from each other. I think what's difficult as well, when certain players move into different positions, the counter can catch you out.
Yes.
Quite quickly. Centre-backs have got to be key. The holding midfield player. Recovery runs have got to be really quick. And I think it's a big half. I'm excited to see what can happen, what can he change, and be a big win this if we can take the points.
It is also, I mean, we're going to go to the game just a second, but it is easy. I mean, we always cut to the shot. I can't remember it being so animated, of not just with Pep, but all the 4 or 5 different conversations happening.
I love this.
It's very rare that you get... in the tunnel, usually they're always chilling.
This is elite access for anyone watching the show tonight. This is elite access. Like, this is Pep working.
Did Phil Foden have kit on then?
Oh, did he?
Did he?
I don't know. I was getting caught up watching Pep.
I just got a little glimpse there.
Oh,
well played.
Michael
there we go.
Brown, there he is.
Hawkeye.
That's why he gets the big bucks, ladies and gentlemen.
I spotted it before the camera.
I mean, I almost...
You're like Pep. You're one step ahead, Brownie.
Do you know, this is good.
Well, can I just say, who said bring on Phil Foden, by the way? Thank you.
I think he should.
Good night.
I think he should bring Ilkay Gundogan on as well.
You said don't run.
Nice. All right. We'll see how we go. Well, I'm glad you listened anyway. Listen, come join us at full time. Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison have got your commentary. The boys are heading back out to the pitch. Manchester City.
Ilkay Gundogan stripped as well. Look at that. Oh my God.
Wow.
Brilliant. I've just had a message. Ilkay Gundogan.
There we go.
No, I haven't.
It is 0-0, and we can tell you there is one change. Phil Foden coming on. Who's that for? I'm not sure, but Alistair Mann will be able to tell you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at full time.
Well, one thing I can tell you for certain as you come back to the Etihad Stadium is that Savinho is in training kit. So he's one of the players who's come off. Foden and Gundogan are about to enter the fray. And we're just looking across to see who the other one is. Oh, it was De Bruyne. So that bang that De Bruyne took was clearly a little more problematic than it looked. So De Bruyne has come off and Savinho has come off.